बिस्मिल्लाहिर्रहमानिर्रहीम वसल्लल्लाहु अला नबील करीम रब्बिश्रह ली सदरी वयस्सिर ली अमरी वहलुल उक़्दतम मिन लिसानी यफ़क़हू क़ौली। Sisters and brothers, welcome to you on Indian soil. You know, India is a religious country. Almost all the major religions have found their place in this country, including Islam. According to my experience, Islam has a very special relationship with India. Why? The Prophet of Islam has said that inni ajidu rihal ilm min biladil Hind. I could sense the wind of knowledge from India. This is the saying of the Prophet of Islam. By this saying, you can understand that it is true to say that Islam has a great relationship with India. Now, Muslims entered India in first half of 7th century. These were Arab traders. Pandit Jawaharlal Nehru, the first Prime Minister of India, has acknowledged their positive contribution to India, that Arab Muslims brought a brilliant culture to India. This is the word of Jawaharlal Nehru. Arab Muslims brought a brilliant culture to India. But it was not a unilateral relationship. It was bilateral. Muslims gave something to India, and also they received something from India. So it was a bilateral relationship. You know, one Indian mind has developed the concept of zero. That was very important in long mathematical calculations. So during a past period, Muslims came to know this concept. They translated it from Sanskrit to Arabic, and then it was translated from Arabic to Latin. Thus, this concept reached to Europe. It was called at the time Arabic numerals, but it was in fact Indian numerals. So it was a bilateral relationship. It was a give and take relationship. Now, the Indian Muslims are flourishing in this country. Their future is very safe. Muslims have established several very important institutions in India, like Nadwa, Deoband, and Jamia Darul Islam Ahmedabad, and Aligarh Muslim University, Jamia Millia, Usmania University, and so on. Then, in 16th century, there was a great Islamic scholar, Sheikh Ali al-Muttaqi. He was an Indian scholar. He prepared a book. It was like Islamic encyclopedia. Is the title of this book is Kanzul Ummal. It consists of 16 volumes. It is a treasure of Islamic traditions. So Muslims are in a very well positioned in India. They have flourishing. They are doing good job. So I'm thankful to this situation. Now, a few words about the religion of Islam. Islam is an Arabic word. It was founded in first quarter of 7th century. The word Islam, the root word of Islam is silm, Silm, silm. And silm means peace. So Islam is a religion of peace. Islam is a religion of peace, tolerance, compassion. The most authentic book of Islam is Al-Quran in Arabic. If you read the Quran consists of 6,400 verses. So if you read Quran, you will find that almost all the verses of the Quran are based on peace and compassion, directly or indirectly. Then I would like to refer some verses from the Quran and also from Hadith. There is a verse in the Quran, As-sulhu khair. As-sulhu khair means peace is the best. Peace is the best. It means that at the time of controversy, or at the time of difference, or in social relationship, the best option is peaceful option. The best option is peaceful option. By adopting this verse, Sufi people developed a formula that is sulh-e-kul. Muslim Sufi came to India and they found here a very fertile ground for their mission. Muslim Sufis were regarded everywhere in India. Their formula was sulh-e-kul. This formula was derived from the Quran. It means peace with all. Peace with all. Peace with Muslims, peace with Hindus, peace with Christians. So peace was the basic principles adopted by Sufis. It was derived from the Quran. So this is the basic principle of the Quran. Then the Prophet of Islam has said, إِنَّ اللَّهَ يُعْطِي عَلَى الرِّفْقِ مَا لَا يُعْطِي عَلَى الْعُنْفِ. It means God grants to non-violence what He does not grant to violence. This is a prophetic saying. And I can say that Mahatma Gandhi gave a successful demonstration of this principle. Mahatma Gandhi was the great leader of India. He was the greatest leader of freedom struggle. And in India, freedom struggle started in 1857. At that time, the leaders were following armed struggle, the formula of armed struggle. They were using violence against Britishers. Then in 1919, Mahatma Gandhi came. He was adopted as the supreme leader of International Congress. Mahatma Gandhi declared that now we will abandon all kind of violence against Britishers. We will follow our struggle through peaceful means, ahimsa or non-violence. This was a peace bomb, like a peace bomb. This bomb paralyzed the British Empire. They felt that now they had no justification to use arms, to use guns against the freedom fighters. There's a very interesting story. One British collector of that time wanted direction from his center, his secretariat, how to do against these non-violent activists. So he sent a telegram asking a guidance. The wording of this telegram was very interesting. It was, wire, kindly wire instructions how to kill a tiger non-violently. It means that previously the freedom fighters were violent. So we were justified to use violence against them. Now they are saying that we are non-violent activists. We have abandoned arms and violence. So what to do? So this is the best illustration that non-violence is far more effective than the violence. Peaceful struggle is far more effective than the violent struggle. So that principle, which was given by the Prophet of Islam in these verses, that God grants to non-violence what He does not grant to violence. Mahatma Gandhi demonstrated practically that it is a fact. Now, a few words about the Islamic teachings. Here I would like to quote a well-known saying of the Prophet of Islam. اتق اللہ حیثما کنت وعاشر الناس بخلق حسن. According to this hadith means saying of the Prophet of Islam. According to this hadith, Islam has a 2-point formula. It has 2-point formula. It is submission to God. Submission to God and compassion to all mankind. And living peacefully with all mankind. This is the simple formula of Islam. Submission to God and living peacefully in our society. There is a hadith, al-mu'minu man salima an-nasu min lisanihi wa yadihi. Muslim is one by whose hands and tongue people are safe. It means that a true Muslim is a peaceful member of society. A true Muslim is a harmless member of his society. This is the true spirit of Islam. Now, about multi-religious society. Here I would like to quote some references from the Quran. You know, Prophet of Islam was appointed as a prophet by God in 610 AD. At that time, he was in Mecca. So there was a Christian scholar in Mecca. His name was Warqa bin Nawfal. According to historical record, Prophet of Islam in Warqa was the first person to whom Prophet Islam revealed this experience. He, accompanying his wife Khadija, went to Warqa bin Nawfal, who was a Christian scholar. He told his experience before Warqa. He wanted his his remark, his impression, his advice. So the first person who accepted that you are a prophet of God, according to your experience, he said that if your experience is right, if you are, what you are saying, if you are right in this, so you are the prophet of God. Then there is a verse in the Quran, Lakum deenukum waliya deen. For you, your religion, for me, mine. There is the there is a practical formula how to live in a multi-religious society. This verse says that gives us very simple formula: follow one and respect all. So this formula is based on mutual respect. You are free to follow your according to your belief, but at the same time you have to pay respect others. There is a very simple, a very practical formula that is based on this principle: follow one and respect all. Then Prophet was Prophet lived in Mecca up to 13 years. Then he migrated to Medina. At that time, there were some Jews in Medina, some Jewish tribes. So he declared, uh, he issued a declaration. This declaration is mentioned in the history of the Islam as Sahifatul Medina, that is Medina Declaration. So in this declaration, Prophet included a provision with in these words: Lil Yahud deenuhum walil Muslimin deenuhum. For Jew their religion, for Muslim their religion. The same formula was applied again in Medina. For Muslims their religion, for Jew their religion. Both are free to follow their religion. At the same time, both must pay respect to others. Here I would like to narrate a very interesting story. This illustrates this principle. When Prophet was in Medina, so history reports that one day he was seated in some part of the Medina. So what happened? His Prophet saw a funeral procession passing through a street in Medina. At that time, Prophet was seated. He stood up in respect of that Jew. So one of his companions said, "O Prophet, it was funeral of a Jew or funeral of a non-Muslim." Prophet said, here is the spirit of Islam. Prophet said, Alaysat nafsan, was he not a human being? This is the true spirit of Islam. You see, here Prophet of Islam discovered a commonality between himself and that Jew, that he is a man, I am also man. Both are human beings. Both were created by God. So he said, Alaysat Nafsan, was he not a human being? This is the true spirit of Islam. Now, a few words about jihad. People are obsessed with the concept of jihad. There are so many news every day in media. But what is jihad? Literally, jihad means to strive, to struggle. That is, jihad means peaceful struggle. Jihad has nothing to do with violence and gun culture. Jihad means peaceful struggle. Peaceful for any noble cause. Peaceful for any noble cause means jihad. So these people who are engaged in jihad, who are engaged in gun culture and saying there is jihad, they are misusing the word jihad. Here I would like to say that you have to adopt a very important principle. That is, you have to differentiate between Islam and Muslims. I repeat, you have to differentiate between Islam and Muslims. You have to judge Muslims in the light of Islamic teachings and not vice versa. So these people are engaged in gun culture and bomb culture in the name of a jihad, but it is not jihad. They are misusing the word jihad. They are misusing the word of jihad. Then I would like to say, what is the concept of war in Islam? Concept of war in Islam. According to Islamic teachings, war is a prerogative of state. There is a well-known principle in Islam that ar-rahilu lil imam. It means that only state have right to declare a war. So war is the prerogative of state and not NGOs. NGOs or organizations or any individual have no right to do armed struggle, to use arm. Now I would like to say that what is the definition of terrorism in Islam? It is very clear. According to my study, I have studied Islam from its original sources, that is Arabic sources. I can say that definition of terrorism in Islam is use of arms by agencies other than state. Use of arms by agencies other than state. This is terrorism. If I state, I mean established state. If an established state goes to war, then it is justified according to the international norm. But no NGOs, no individual, no organization is justified to go to war. It's completely un-Islamic. Then there are conditions. Only one kind of war is permitted in Islam. There are so many kind of wars like guerrilla war, proxy war, undeclared war, and so on. But only one kind of war is permitted in Islam, that is defensive war. If there is a clear aggression from outside, from any country, then state has right to go to war. Again, there are some other conditions. For example, even in a genuine war, that is defensive war, you cannot kill a non-combatant. Even a genuine war, you are allowed to kill the combatant. It's very important. There is a very important verse in this regard. Man qatala nafsam bighairi nafsin wa fasadin faqannama qatala an-nas jami'a. It is a Quranic verse. It means that if you kill an innocent person, it means that you have killed all the mankind. If someone kills a person, an innocent person, it means that he has killed all the mankind. So even in a genuine war, there is defensive war. States is not allowed to kill the non-combatant. This is the condition. So war is allowed in Islam only in defensive situation with with some very strict conditions. Then I would like to say that what is the crux of the Islam? What is the crux of Islamic religion? Crux of Islamic religion is spirituality. Spirituality. Spirituality means and Tawheed. The first principle is Tawheed, then spirituality. You know, one American scholar has published a book. In this book, he says, the greatest concern of Islam is Allah. The greatest concern of Islam is Allah. It means that greatest concern of Islam is Tawheed. Tawheed means oneness of God. So this is the basic creed of Islam. The whole Islamic ideology is based on the concept of Tawheed. There is oneness of God. God is one. This is the basic teaching of Islam. Then in your life, in your family life, in your social life, in your national life, you have to adopt spiritual principles. That is called in Islam ar-Rabbaniya. Kunu Rabbaniyin. Kun Rabbani. Ar-Rabbaniya, the Quranic word is ar-Rabbaniya. I'm using spirituality, but the Arabic word that is used in the Quran is ar-Rabbaniya. Rabbaniya means Rabb-oriented thinking, Rabb-oriented speech, Rabb-oriented behavior. This is spirituality. This is the crux of spirituality. So this is the Islamic teaching. Islamic teachings are completely based on peace and compassion and tolerance and truthfulness. There is the room for violence in Islam. I can say that in Islam, peace is the rule and war is a rare exception. That is defensive situation. All the teachings of Islam are based in peace. Because without peace, There is no development, no activities. You cannot do anything without peace. When we cannot organize this meeting without peace, so for every activity, you need peace. For for salat, for som, for zakat, for hajj, all kind of activities that is required in Islam want peace. So peace is the summum bonum in Islam. Then Islam tries to establish peace at any cost. Peace at any cost. There are some people who say those people who are engaged in violence in the name of jihad, if you ask why you are engaged in violence, why? They would say that we want justice. Give us justice, I will give you peace. We are deprived of justice. So give us justice, and we'll give you peace. But this is a wrong proposition, because justice is not a part of justice is part of opportunity and not part of peace. The formula, the law of nature is that first of all you have to establish peace. Then there are so many opportunities, and by availing these opportunities, you can achieve justice. This is the formula of nature. You cannot achieve justice with violence. Not at all. No one in history was able to achieve justice through war, through violence. Justice is the result of your own endeavor, your own struggle. So the real formula, according to Islamic teaching, is that first of all, you have to establish peace at any cost, because peace opens the door of opportunity. Peace opens the door of opportunity. And by availing these opportunities, you can achieve all those things you want, like justice and all other things. So according to Islamic teachings, we have to establish peace at any cost. You know what happened in Arabia during the Prophet's time? At that time, there was religious persecutions. They were they they became hostile to Islam. Their culture was fighting at that time. So they waged war against the Prophet of Islam unilaterally. Then Prophet of Islam entered in negotiations. After a long negotiation, he was able to finalize a peace treaty. It is called Hudaybiyah Treaty. If you read, if you see the provision of this treaty, you will find that all the conditions were in favor of the opponent party. Prophet of Islam accepted all the conditions presented by the opposite party. Only for one why? Only for one purpose, that to establish peace. So after establishing this treaty, that is called Hudaybiyah, God Almighty revealed these words in the Quran: Inna al-fatahna laka fatham mubina. We gave you clear victory. At that time there was no victory. It was, and apparently it was a defeat. It was not victory. But Quran says that God gave you clear victory. Why? This agreement, that is Hudaybiyah agreement, opened the door of opportunity. Before this treaty, there was no interaction, no discussion, no meeting, no relationship between the two parties. But after finalizing this treaty, the peace treaty, all the doors were open. Now there was discussion, there was interaction, there was meetings, everything. So the Prophet used this as an opportunity for disseminating his mission. In this sense, it was Fateh Mubin, or clear victory, that you accepted their condition, and in return, you achieve opportunity. This was the Fateh Mubin, or clear victory. So I would say that don't uh, don't believe in media. I'm not blaming media. I'm not that kind of person who blame the media. No, I have no complaint against media, not at all. Why? Because media is not a mission. Media is a profession. Media tries to sell their news, and when they see the market, in the market, they see that hot news is sellable. So they try to sell hot news. So why blame media? Media is an industry. Media is not a mission. It is not media's concern to disseminate the truth. The only concern of media is to sell their news. So when they see that people are interested in hot news, so they are selling the hot news. We must refrain ourselves from violence. Don't create hot news. Then media will be helpless. So I am not blaming media, but generally people take their views from media. Media media is an industry of selective news. Media is an industry, but it is a industry of selective news. They select hot news and they abandon soft news. So you have to be aware. You have to be aware. If you want to know what is happening in terms of hot news, then you can trust on media. But if you want to know what is the religion of Islam, what are the teachings of Islam, what is the teachings of Prophet of Islam, then you have to go to books. You have to see the scriptures. You have to see the Quran and Hadith. You know, there are two basic sources of the Islam, of the religion of Islam. First is Al-Quran, and the second is Sunnah or Hadith. Al-Quran is the compilation of those revelations Prophet of Islam received during 23 years. So all those revelations were compiled in the form of Quran. It is, we can say this is the book of God. So it is the first source. Then the second source is Sunnah or Hadith. That is Prophet's tradition. So revelations from God and Prophet's tradition, These two are the basic sources of Islam. So if you want to know what is Islam, don't trust on media. Even don't trust on Muslim practices. You have to see the Quran. You have to see the Hadith. The best formula I can present to you, as I said earlier, that you have to differentiate between Islam and Muslims. You have to judge Muslims in the light of Islamic teachings and not vice versa. So people generally take Islam as a different kind of religion, but it is not. Islam is not a different kind of religion. The London Times has published an article about Islam. The caption was a religion that sanctions violence. A religion that sanctions violence. It was wrong. You can say that there are some Muslims who are engaged in violence. It is true. But you cannot say that Islam sanctions violence. Not at all. Islam is a religion of peace. As I have quoted earlier, that in the Quran there is a verse that says that killing a single person is like killing all mankind. So Islam is a religion of peace. Islam is a religion of compassion. Islam is a religion of blessing. You know, Jesus Christ has said, love your enemy. The same teaching you can find in Islam also. There is a verse in the Quran, لا تستوي الحسنة ولا السيئة ادفع بالتي هي أحسن فإذا الذي بينك وبينه عداوة كأنه ولي حميم. It means that do good deed in return for bad deed, and you will find that your enemy has become your dearest friend. It means that according to Islamic teachings, your enemy is your potential friend. So turn this potential into actual. This is the true Islamic teachings.
Maulana Sahib, my name is Arun Gandhi. I'm a grandson of Mahatma Gandhi, and I teach Mahatma Gandhi's philosophy in United States. This group is a group that I bring every year to India, and the purpose is to show them and give them an idea of what Gandhiji's philosophy was about. And so I am very grateful to you today for spending time with us and clarifying so many issues about Islam that needed to be understood properly. I think I have learned more about Islam today in this one evening than I did in all my 76 years of life. But I do have one question, and it may be an indication of my ignorance. So I would ask your forgiveness if I have not understood you properly. But you mentioned 2 or 3 times during your talk that we have to work for peace at any cost. And that I was not able to understand properly, because in today's times, President Bush said that he declared war because he's working for peace, that we need to kill all the terrorists before we can achieve peace in the world. The jihadists say the same kind of thing, that we need to kill all the um, uh, Napak people before we can get peace on the world. So when you say we need to have peace at any cost, work for peace at any cost, are you saying that this is the right way of working? I mean, even violence and killing would be a good way of working for peace? Or because my grandfather always believed that peace can only be achieved through nonviolence, that no other way of achieving peace. It's only through nonviolence that we can achieve peace. So if you could clarify this little point for me, I'll be very grateful to you. Thank you.
Thank you. You know, Mahatma Gandhi started his non-violent movement after 1919. 1919 was a massacre. He never said that we have to give a fit response through violence. They showed violence in 1919, but Mahatma Gandhi adopted peace. So you have to see the result. Those who have uh, opted for violence in 1919, they failed, and Mahatma Gandhi was successful. So you have to see the result. In Islam, it is the result that matters. So I'm a great believer that through violence you cannot achieve anything. Only through a peaceful method you can achieve your goal. So Mahatma Gandhi himself has showed the way. Even there was 1919 massacre, but he adopted peace and he was successful. So I think that we have to redefine Mahatma Gandhi's philosophy. Now we have to redefine, we have to re-study, we have to rediscover the philosophy. I'm a great admirer of Mahatma Gandhi, and I am a Gandhian in the sense of non-violent activist. So I believe in result. Violence cannot lead to any result. Peaceful, positive result can be achieved only through peace. This is my belief.
My name is Kit Miller, and I live in U.S. in New York State. And I want to say thank you again for welcoming us here tonight. I want to say I have such a sorrow about my country and the enemy images that it has of people of your faith. I feel great sorrow about that. And what I would like to ask you is to help me release some of that sorrow is what would you have people in the U.S. do to help change the situation and change this idea that so many of them have about Islam? Because it's not, the way that you speak it is so beautiful and true, and I want more people to understand it. Was I clear?
I would say that the ideology of Mahatma Gandhi was not repeated neither in this country nor any other country. People blame USA, but no one was able to apply the Gandhian philosophy in this regard. I don't know any person. Simply they blame, they complain, they protest. They never tried to contact those people and convey the message of peace. There was no negotiation, no dialogue. I have participated in some dialogue, but all these dialogues were debate. all these debate, all these dialogues were debate. People wanted to compel others to admit to accept that ideology. So Mahatma Gandhian philosophy means compassion. It is based on compassion. If you are living in hate, if you are living in complaint, then you are not able to follow the Gandhian philosophy or Islamic philosophy. So first of all, I think that it is very important formula, love your enemy. So the true jihad begins from love, from compassion, from sympathy. When people are living in hate, they are not able to 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 apply this formula. So I complain those people who are living in hate and then they're talking Gandhian philosophy or Islamic philosophy. First of all, you have to remove that hate, those living, those people who are living in hate, they are not able to understand this philosophy, and also they are not able to to apply this philosophy in the present situation.
Maulana, she wants to know how your ideology, the ideology that you presented to the group, can be introduced to more Americans, Muslims. She wants to know.
My ideology is based on unilateralism. Unilateralism. First of all, you have to accept unilaterally the status quo. People are not ready to accept the status quo. So my ideology is based to accept the status quo unilaterally. Then you have to avail the opportunity, and then you will be able to achieve your end. Without accepting the status quo, you will go to fighting. So my ideology is based on three formula. Accept the status quo, then avail the opportunities, then you will be able to achieve the result. For example, I visited Palestine. There I found that youngsters were singing in chorus. هلم نقاتل هلم نقاتل فإن القتال سبيل الرشاد. This was their song. It means that let us wage war, because war is the best solution. I said no. هلم نسالم فإن السلام سبيل الرشاد. Let us make peace, because peace is the way to success. So people are not ready to rethink. Now we have to rethink, we have to reassess, we have to revise, and then we have to replan. So the starting point is here. The starting point is here. That is rethinking, reassessment. Without rethinking, there is no solution, no way out. I have discussed with so many Arabs, so many non-Arabs. No one I found no one wanted to reassess the whole matter. They are only talking the language of debate. By following this kind of tendency, you cannot achieve anything. So, in a single word, my formula or Islamic formula, Gandhian formula, both, I have derived this principle that accept status quo unilaterally, then you can be able to achieve opportunities, and then you can achieve the required result. This is the formula I have derived from Quran as well as from Gandhian philosophy.
Thank you.
Oh, sorry. Oh.
Assalamu alaikum. Peace be on you all. Maulana Sahib, my name is Irfan Omar. You know me. I wanted to clarify one question based on what you said in your talk. You said in Islam, the only war that is permissible is defensive war. And in that context, you mentioned that in that principle of war, defensive war, no non-combatant should be killed. And my question is, can we take it further and ask no non-combatant may be injured or harmed? Because then the landscape is very different. And some Muslim thinkers have argued that if we apply that language, then even defensive war is very problematic. Thank you.
I'm not saying about injury. I'm saying about killing, according to the Quran. I'm not saying about injury. But when there is no option other than to kill the non-combatant, you have to stop the war and adopt the peaceful means. I'm not saying about injury. But if the option is only to kill the non-combatant, then you have to abandon war and adopt peaceful means. This is my point. As far as the injury is concerned, there is another question.
I have two questions. One is that you said that one of the two main points in Islam is compassion to all mankind. So, would that include all species? The second question is, you said that armed aggression by any agency other than an established state is terrorism. What happens if the state turns aggressor?
I think that compassion with all, love with all, that is not only about human being. So compassion is a universal quality. When you are compassionate to human being, it is but natural that you will be compassionate to others also. I think that compassion is a ibadat. It is rewardable act. Compassion or well-wishing or friendly behavior. This is ibadat. Ibadat means rewardable act according to Islamic teachings. No, I don't believe that kind of term. Some people have termed a new term, have coined a new term, that is state terrorism. I don't believe in this state terrorism. Because state is allowed to go to war by United Nations Charter. If there is a established state, if it is a member of United Nations, if it has signed the charter, then in principle it has right to go to war if there is some situation of aggression. So I don't believe that this term is correct. State terrorism, nothing. It is nothing. You can say that that state has misused the right, its right. In that case, you can say that state is misusing its right. But you cannot say that it is a terrorist state. I don't subscribe with this notion.
Maulana, I'm Khalid Ansari. My question is an extension to Mr. Arun Gandhi's question, which probably some part of that remained unanswered. The US administration believed and still believes that to achieve peace, it is important to eliminate the bad elements, means the terroristic outfits and all that. On the other hand, there are terrorist groups and outfits. They claim that they are the real presenter of Islam, and to achieve peace, they need to eliminate the bad people from the face of the earth. Do you think they are actually representing the Islam and achieving the goal called peace?
No. I don't think that they are representing Islam. NGOs has no right to kill the bad elements. No. You can go to United Nations. If America is misusing its powers, you can go to United Nations, the international forum. You cannot say that we ourselves will kill the bad element. It is wrong, it is un-Islamic. It is against the international norm.
I think many of them just want you to comment on America using violence to bring peace. What is your comment on this?
If someone if someone disagrees with this policy, he can go to United Nations. He is not allowed to use arm and bomb. This is my point. If America or any country is misusing his authority, is misusing his power, then the best forum is United Nations. You are not allowed to use it as an excuse for using for going to suicide bombing or gun culture. You have to go to United Nations. You have to use the international forum. You have to complain to register in that in UNO. This is the right place for your actions. Gun culture and bomb culture is not a right option for you. This I am saying on behalf of Islam, and also this Gandhian philosophy is based also on this principle.
Islam. So would that mean that I'm Tushar Gandhi, I'm Arun Gandhi's son? Would that mean that you are saying that a true believer in Islam would take the violence of the opponent and yet remain non-violent and fight for justice? Or at one point of time, the believer would be justified in taking up arms against the aggressor?
I cannot say that believers themselves can use violence. No. They can refer to their government, they can refer to United Nations. According to Islam, they are not allowed to use arm by themselves. They can adopt a peaceful method. They can protest through media, but they cannot use arms. There are governments, Muslim governments. There are 57 Muslim countries. So they have referred their case to Muslim countries, to Muslim states. Why they are using arm by themselves? It is not allowed in Islam.
What should a believer do if violence is done to him? How should he behave? What should he?
Peaceful activism. They must adopt peaceful activism. Prophet of Islam also adopted peaceful activism. Mahatma Gandhi adopted peaceful activism. And Japan adopted peaceful activism after Second World War. And they succeeded. So you have to see the result. They are using arms since long, but there is no result. So I am saying that you have to see the result. When you adopt violent struggle, when you adopt arms, then there is no result. So if believers feel that they are suffering from atrocity from some country, so they have to refer to their governments. There are 57 Muslim governments. So they have to refer their matter to these governments. And if they want to refer to the National Forum, they have to go to United Nations. But Islam does not allow them to use arms by themselves. This is my, according to my study, this is the Islamic position.
Sir, I will not argue about the religious basis, but you time and again mention that somebody who is feeling that they have been dealt with unjustly should approach their country to approach the United Nations to complain. As an example, I'll give a citizen of Iraq who feels that the American action in Iraq or Afghanistan was detrimental to their life should get his government to approach the United Nations. But when you go to the United Nations, the United States, who at that point would be a guilty party, holds the veto on any resolution moved in the United Nations. So in that case, how does one proceed with the course of justice?
I think this is not the case. First of all, these believers must abandon their violence. They are using violence, at the same time they are approaching United Nations. This is contradictory approach. If they want to find some solution from United Nations or from their own country, they must abandon their violence. You see, there is a contradictory situation. Every day there are news that they are using gun culture, they are using bombs, suicide bombing. In such a situation, it is useless to go to United Nations or approach to these Muslim countries. All these Muslim countries have several times advised these people that first of all you have to abandon your violence, then we will be in a position to do something. This is the real situation.